you need some last-minute kicker options. Here are a few kickers I have as sleepers, and that could be useful for your starting lineup this week. The first guy's Randy Bullock of the Cincinnati Bengals. Bullock, he's been slumping the last few weeks at the kicker position, and this Cincinnati offense, they've really struggled. They're barely putting up points in the last few weeks. They've only scored in the last 3 games is 33 points total, so they're not finding the end zone. They're not even getting in field goal range, but this week I think it changes. They're versing the Dallas Cowboys that everyone scores points on, no matter how bad your offense and team is. And Bullock this week, I think he can have a decent fantasy game like he did early in the season, where he started the season off with 4 double-digit fantasy games. I think Bullock, he could reach 10 points in this game. I think this game will be in the low 20s, and there'll be a bunch of field goal attempts for both kickers. And I think Bullock, he'll find the uprights a few times, and he's a guy also available in 93% of fantasy leagues. So he's a good get, I believe, is Bullock, and I have him as the first kicker sleeper. The second guy's Cody Parkey of the Cleveland Browns. Parkey, I don't think I've mentioned him at all this season in any of these kicker videos, but Parkey, he's been under the radar of late, putting up fantasy points, and this week he's versing the Baltimore Ravens. This game, I think it's going to be a field goal type of game where both kickers have many attempts, and now Parkey in his last 3 games, he's been doing well. In Week 11, 9 fantasy points with a 46-yarder, a 28-yarder, and 2 extra points. Then in Week 12 at Jacksonville, 28-yarder, a 44-yarder, and 3 extra points. And then last week at Tennessee, he had a 26-yarder, a 43-yarder, and 5 extra points. So Parkey, he's getting up points, he's getting opportunities. But this week, I don't think the Browns are going to find the end zone that much. And he's going to have 3 or 4 attempts, I believe, for a field goal as Parkey. So he's definitely a sleeper, and he's available in 99% of fantasy leagues. And the third and final kicker this week I have as a sleeper, Stephen Gostkowski, a guy I've been down on the whole season. Gostkowski, he was inconsistent early in the year, missing a lot of extra points and chip shot field goals. But the last few weeks he's been pretty solid, besides last week when Tennessee went for 2 points a lot. So Gostkowski only had 3 extra points, but this week he's got a great matchup versus the Jacksonville Jaguars that give up the 6th most fantasy points to kickers. I think Tennessee, they're going to be in the red zone early and often in that game. So Gostkowski, I could see him get a bunch of attempts and even 3 or 4 extra points in this game. So that's a few kickers I have as sleepers here going into Week 14.